Get ready for the ultimate billionaire bout. Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. Why do these two plutocrats hate each other? In this corner, we have the tech wonderkind, Mark Zuckerberg. While he was only in college, his idea for a dating website morphed into Facebook, and he and his partners launched the massive social media network and changed the internet forever. His network has grown to include image-sharing site Instagram, private message service Messenger, and international chat app WhatsApp. He's fallen into controversy for how his sites handle their user data, but it hasn't stopped him from becoming the 7th richest person in the world as of October 2021, with a net worth of $118 billion. And in the other corner, we have the entrepreneur and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Known for his love of ambitious tech projects, he dominates the electric car market, founded the infrastructure company The Boring Company, and the private space travel company SpaceX, and is involved in brain interface research at Neuralink. He's known as much for his eccentric personality and his bizarre tweets as for his innovations, and he was once fined by the federal government for tweets that caused a stock fluctuation. But it hasn't stopped him from currently being the richest person in the world, with an October 2021 net worth of $202 billion. But why do they constantly seem ready to go to war? The two didn't intersect much, with Zuckerberg's interests being primarily in the digital sphere and Musk's more in physical technology. But in 2016, they were about to collide in a big way. SpaceX was about to pull off a major rocket launch, and it would be carrying an expensive payload, a $200 million satellite from Internet.org, backed by Zuckerberg. The telecommunications satellite would be launched into space by the rocket in one of the first major collaborations between the billionaires. But it would never get off the ground. Literally. In September 2016, a major fire broke out on the rocket before it could launch, and the rocket was destroyed along with the satellite. It was a massive setback for SpaceX, but not the first after they had lost a rocket in a 2015 mishap. Musk was disappointed, but Zuckerberg was angry and took to Facebook to express his opinions. His language: the company was deeply disappointed that SpaceX's launch failure destroyed our rocket, left no doubt about who Zuckerberg was holding responsible, and the first shot in the feud had been fired. It would not be the last. The two only got more powerful after this confrontation, and soon it would be Zuckerberg's turn in the barrel. After the controversial 2016 presidential election, attention turned to just how much misinformation there was on Facebook. You've probably seen it. You're looking at pictures of your friend's vacation, and the next post is your aunt's second husband talking about how aspirin is actually mind control pills. But an investigation into the company's involvement in the election was brewing, and in 2018 it blew wide open. Cambridge Analytica was about to enter the chat. Turned out that the personal data of millions of Facebook users had been covertly collected by the British data firm. It's pretty easy to give away your data on Facebook. Remember all those quizzes about what Harry Potter character you'd be? They always ask you for some details about yourself, and that data gets funneled back to the company. But the scandal here wasn't just that the data had been collected without permission, it was where it went. Much of it was used to gear political advertising toward Facebook users, making it easier for campaigns and political action committees to misinform people about the candidates. The reaction was swift and angry. It's rare to see Republicans and Democrats agree on anything, but they both wanted Mark Zuckerberg in the dock before Congress. He was barraged with questions about what he knew and when. And while he claimed that there was no significant data breach, it was enough for politicians to call for the company to be broken up or placed under federal oversight. And it wasn't just in the US. Cambridge Analytica had been involved in advertising during the Brexit vote in the UK, and many politicians there wanted answers too. And the politicians weren't the only ones with strong opinions. 2 years ago, it had been Musk in the hot seat when Zuckerberg hit out at him, and Musk was now ready to strike back. Amid the scandal, the Tesla founder suddenly deleted all of his company's Facebook pages, no doubt breaking the hearts of Tesla fans worldwide. His explanation: the big tech company and its deep involvement in the user data gave him the willies. A typical blunt statement from the billionaire who once composed a rap song dedicated to the late Gorilla Hammurabi. These were the big incidents, but the two couldn't seem to stop taking shots at each other. In the past, billionaires tended to be business magnates who kept to themselves and didn't speak to the common folks as much. But today's tech billionaires are as much as celebrities as businessmen. They're rarely shy about sharing their opinions. In the past, Musk has talked about how he believes that artificial intelligence is a threat to the human race, raising the prospect of an intelligence so strong we couldn't control it. But Zuckerberg had a more optimistic view and couldn't resist the chance to take a dig at his nemesis. During a Facebook livestream, he talked about how assuming the worst of artificial intelligence was irresponsible and stated that he was optimistic about the future. And of course, it didn't end there. Musk immediately took to Twitter the next day and accused Zuckerberg of having a limited understanding of AI, and the fight was on once again. The two would continue sniping at each other on and off, and old incidents would come up again. When Musk was asked about the failed rocket launch, the Tesla CEO commented that at least they gave them a free launch to make up for it, and implied that Zuckerberg was making too big a deal over the loss. After all, they probably had insurance. But in 2020, the feud would explode, and somehow, Borat was involved. The controversy over Facebook's data regulation continued into 2020. As the next presidential election loomed, many activists called for the company to be regulated or broken up, including the comedian Sacha Baron Cohen, who condemned it for letting anti-Semitism flourish on the platform due to a lack of moderation. What he wasn't expecting was for one of the world's richest men to leap in on his post and reply with the hashtag delete Facebook, it's lame. Maybe not the most profound statement, but Zuckerberg would only read it one way, a declaration of war. And soon, real-world events would escalate the feud once again. The presidential election was over, and soon Joe Biden would be certified as the winner. But a mob of protesters had other opinions. They stormed the Capitol building and killed a police officer to stop the certification vote, leading to arrests, injuries, and deaths. In the aftermath, the shocked nation looked for a cause, and many people pointed the finger at social media, which had allowed conspiracy theorists to spread rumors about the election being rigged for months before the vote. While much of the attention was focused on Twitter and its moderation, others thought Facebook was still a major culprit, and Musk was ready to once again throw fuel on the flames. He took to Twitter claiming that the Capitol rampage was part of a domino effect that all started when Zuckerberg created a website to rate women on the campus. While the popular domino internet meme might have not been the most effective way to make his point, Musk continued to comment on their data sharing and spying practices, as well as the greater integration on apps like Messenger and WhatsApp that meant Facebook would be getting more data even if people weren't on it. He even pointed people to the encrypted messaging app Signal as an alternative, and was retweeted by another Zuckerberg rival, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. So why do these two dislike each other so much? It seems counterproductive for them to keep on sniping at each other. After all, they're not direct business rivals in many areas. While their interests can intersect, the sources of their fortunes are very different. And in the new economy, the wealth of these billionaires is largely dependent on one thing: the state of their stock holdings. Controversy makes their companies seem unstable, and that can lead people to sell stocks, something both are very familiar with, as controversy has seen their net worth fluctuate wildly, losing billions in a single day of trading. So why can't they seem to stay in their own lanes? One possible explanation is that they don't understand each other very well. The two come from different backgrounds. Musk is the scion of a wealthy South African family with roots in old money. Zuckerberg, meanwhile, didn't grow up poor, but was certainly not expected to become a billionaire when he went off to Harvard. Musk's explosive, eccentric personality is not a good match for Zuckerberg's more restrained demeanor. It may be a version of that one person in your friend group that you just don't vibe with, just on a global scale. The other explanation is much more ambitious. There are only a few people on the planet who have more money than they know what to do with. Zuckerberg and Musk own so many companies that their wealth basically grows on its own. So they've turned their attention to changing the world, and that puts them into competition with each other. They're both chasing historic firsts, and when only a few people in the world can do the same thing as you, it's natural to see them as a rival and try to tear them down at every opportunity. But they're not the only people trying to pull them down. Another reason for their enmity might be because they want to make sure the heat is on the other guy. As two of the most visible billionaires, they've come under frequent fire from politicians angry about income inequality. While their 12-digit fortunes are enough to make people bang on the virtual gates with virtual pitchforks, their own scandals have raised ire as well. Controversy over Zuckerberg's data scandals and Musk's love for energy-consuming cryptocurrency have gotten them both in hot water. And if they can emphasize the other guy's problems, maybe Congress won't be looking at their own. But someone else might just stand to benefit from this feud. While Musk and Zuckerberg have been fighting it out in the background, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has been emerging as possibly the most powerful billionaire in the world. His Amazon delivery service has become the go-to source for ordering just about everything. His streaming service is producing dozens of new series a year, and he started his own space travel company, Blue Origin, allowing tourists with deep pockets and even celebrities like William Shatner to make trips to the border of space. While he gets many of the same complaints about his massive wealth, just short of Musk's total as of October 2021, and there are persistent complaints about conditions at Amazon's workplaces, he doesn't seek out the headlines as much as Musk and Zuckerberg, and he's only getting richer while they fight. It might be time for the two long rivals to stop sniping and focus on a bigger threat like rival superheroes, or they could just keep insulting each other on Twitter. For more on the strange world of the fabulously wealthy, check out Millionaires versus Billionaires. How do they live? or watch this video instead.